Hey there, caramel flavored sprinkles. We're going to do a macro update today just so you can see the bullish undertone for crypto. A lot of you want to know, how do I have such diamond heavy balls all the time? And the answer is because I understand that the whole financial system is a Ponzi. They have to keep printing. And so we want to be in the vehicle that's going to be the fastest moving horse, rocket, whatever it is. We want to be in the fastest one. Crypto is going to be the fastest one. It's the smallest bucket. When water pours into the crypto bucket, it fills up very quick and everyone's got to rush in. I want you to have a look at this chart. This is actually very juicy. So the preface is, I've got to let you know that macro is not what you think, friends. You are a baby doll with a straight back. You are here. You got your elbows so pointy, they're going to tear holes in your sofa. That's how pointy your elbows are. I want you to know that macro, you just need it for the undertone of the next 5 to 10 years. You don't need to look at macro in terms of the Fed moving rates around and what's going on. You will fall into traps over and over again because you can predict if a recession is coming, but you don't know when the governments are going to react. Because if the governments react very early, medium early, quite early, in the middle, or a bit late, the market's going up. So in 60 to 70% of the cases, when they print money, the market's going up. It's just that final 30% where it's an unforeseen shock that it takes time for the government to understand what's going on before they eventually print, which they always end up doing. So the odds are in your favor if you're long. And look at this. I'm going to show you why. So this chart here, I'm going to show you. Okay, we're going to have a look at this. Look at this chart. Can you see? Squint your eyes and then unsquint them. I made this big for you. This is GMI. So Raoul Pal's Real Vision, he just made this index together. It's global liquidity. I have a chart I've shown you before, the global M2, which I can quickly bring up. And it's right here. Sometimes I've posted this chart, global M2. So this is not just M2 of USA. It includes every country. Wow, it is peaking through the top. Look at that. You wonder why crypto is going up. Look what happened. Isn't that crazy, friends? So market, we front run, man. Like, I want you to see as well. You notice how crypto topped out we topped out here. But you notice how it was still going up here, and then we went down. Do you see how the market front runs everything? Crypto was collapsing here. We were already 70% down from the top, from this arrow. So the market's forward looking. The market can see 6 to 12 months ahead. Look what happened 6 to 12 months ahead. You had red, global M2. This thing was going down. They were printing less. The liquidity went down. But if you could only see here, if you were going off today's data, I want you to look in. You're seeing green candles and you're like, what is going on? And now you wonder what happens. Well, the market's front running the future. That's why you always got to be long. And look at this. Isn't that crazy? The market knows. There's insiders. There's people smart. That's just what happens. You just got to assume everything's rigged. But it's also rigged to go up in the long term, man. Isn't that crazy? No, it's not crazy because you're a baby doll baby cake. Okay, so this is the global M2 money supply, but it's charted with the NASDAQ in blue here. NASDAQ, the US tech stock index. And you can see here, friends, right, look at this. It has a very tight correlation between them. So notice how central banks, they keep printing and it moves us up. Crypto is tied to stocks. You know, the central banks, they're going to keep expanding their balance sheets over time. What part of this chart makes you think that they're going to stop the game? Have a look at this. If they wanted to stop the game, I assure you, politicians, they would all be buying forts with like thick walls of steel. They'll have army tanks around because that means the end of times is coming. There's going to be an apocalypse. That's how you know they're going to stop the game. Do you see any of that anywhere? Do you see politicians locking themselves up with all the army out there controlling people like it's some sort of apocalyptic movie? No, you don't see that? Okay, they're going to keep playing the game then. They're going to keep playing the game. Notice how as well, if you look here, look at this aggressive super. This is the zombie virus, by the way. Look at this aggressive super balance sheet act here. Like, there are so many times. Now, there are these little deviations. This is crazy, right? This is, balance sheet was going down and we were still drifting up, but they were still doing QE. So you can see this deviation is actually pretty cool. QE was so effective at the start that it could go down, but the market was going up. Look at these two deviations. See this line? Isn't that crazy? But now, this was QE1, but now they're up to QE infinite. So the market is getting more, it's becoming less sensitive to it. But look at this. Both of them going up over time. That's all you need to know. And so for you to know, the global M2 liquidity, you just think of a money printer. That's all it is. They all mean the same thing. Global swap lines and credit and liquidity. All these macro nerds, they throw these different words. I'm going to draw a printer here for you. Just a little printer. It's printing dollar bills. All these macro words will try to denote different like verbs for you to get confused in different diagrams. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. The central bankster goes to his computer, he opens up Microsoft Excel, and he presses a button. That's it. It's over. Done. That's all they do. They're doing the same thing every single time. Now, I also have this other chart here. This is the yearly change. So this chart is just a yearly change percent. Yearly change. I have arrows here to show you whenever there's collapses. Whenever there's collapses, what happens? Have you noticed, friends? Whenever there's collapses, they print again next year. So I'm here to show you this. And if you go look at the analysis of this, people don't really look at charts the way I do. But it makes sense when I explain it to you. Look, they collapse the printing and then CPI comes down and they're like, okay, we're back again. It's when they collapse the printing, you got to know, people immediately get scared. So if you could think of it like a scale of units, if they collapse the printing in the stock market, maybe your fear units, maybe you have 10 units of fear immediately. But when they start printing again, you don't erase 10 fear units immediately. You don't get 10 units of confidence. You might get only two or three. So they can collapse 10 units of your confidence immediately. So they go minus 10. So this is minus 10. And then as they print again, it's like, okay, plus 3. That's why the printing has to go on for a long time. You know, it's kind of crazy. If you think about the crypto cycle, we collapse over a year. Everyone gets destroyed. And then it takes 3 years to build us up again. These oscillations. That's why they do this. Now, if you've noticed, we had big printing after the zombie virus, a big collapse here. What do you think comes next? And what do you think comes next? You think anything's going to change? Has anything told you they're going to change? I've been telling you, because you're a baby doll baby cake with pointy elbows and cute mittens on, I've been telling you the game is rigged. As long as you see people on the street not talking about Bitcoin to $1 million because fiat's gone to zero, because we don't see that anymore, that means the game is still on. If people are talking like that on the street, we got another whole host of problems, because they're going to issue capital punishment for owning crypto if that happens. But it's not happening right now. It's not happening. Go ask all your friends, family, ask your parents, ask anybody. Do they actually disrespect fiat currency as much as we do, say, on Twitter and YouTube? No, they don't. They don't. Everyone still wants to get paid in. Everyone wants to use it. Everybody still respects it because they still see crypto as super hyper volatile. But that is good for me and you. So macro is working on our side now. They're going to keep printing again. We're going to beat the game. We're going to beat the game, friends. It is very bullish when you see this. And we get to continue the friendship into the future. So I've already gone through this, right? So if you notice, on every single dip, they come and put the printers back on. But you know why? Friends, the CPI, baby dolls, you know it's a scam index. The CPI is also a year-on-year change. So the CPI is if you have mittens and your mittens were $100 1 year, and then your mittens became $200, your CPI would be plus 100%. That's huge inflation. But then what if in the next year, your mittens only cost $202? Then the CPI is only plus 1%. And you're like, wow, the inflation came down. And you're sitting there scratching your head saying, wait a minute, we were just $100, now we're 202. How did inflation come down? And they're like, whatever, just keep living your life, go la 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 la. And they just go, dude, they send other distractions out and the economy adjusts to the new prices. This is what's happening on the surface. That's why people always say, nah, they can't print money because inflation's too high. Really? The CPI is a scam number. They know exactly how to manipulate it. It just takes time for it to morph itself and for people to evolve to the new numbers. And here we are. We're already used to oil being the price it is and petrol and gas. As the years go on, it's going to be the same. So the spike, you've had the spike, and now it's going to keep going up at a slower rate, and they're going to say, oh, we fixed inflation. This is the game. This is not new. This is what's been going on. That's why you have to be bullish on crypto, because we know how the game is played. You know how their response is. You know that they only have one tool, which is the money printer. So you got to pick the bucket that fills up fastest. It's crypto. And if I could leave you with one thing. Now, this is gonna really throw you off your horse. There is a 97% correlation between central bank and the S&P 500, the central bank policy of printing. Now, a lot of people, I've actually seen people, there's weird, like, neutral type of journalists who are like anti-crypto, pro-government. They're on Twitter here and there, and they will actually really get angry. They will get like super tilted when you say this. They'll throw all these statistics saying, it's not correlated, causation, correlation, you know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It all makes sense. You know it's one big fat scam. So it doesn't even matter if this chart is really true or not. I've just shown you, hey, they keep printing more money. Do you really need to know what goes up with it, friends? Do you? Do you honestly need to see a chart? Some people do, but I'm letting you know. They make more of the paper dollars. How about you go allocate it before everyone else stuff? That's the game. That's literally the game of speculation. Investing, risk-taking, everything. That's the whole game. Beat the crowd. You have to beat the crowd. Because if you don't beat the crowd's going to beat you. Ain't that some truth? So we all know this. When they print, the market goes up. And I've already shown you the charts. Like, it's not if they print, it's when are they going to print again? That's it. The market knows this. Crypto did not accidentally bounce up. The stock market did not accidentally bounce up. The market knows this. They know this. They need more liquidity. I had someone ask me the other day, they say, hey, everybody knows about this money supply going up. Don't you think one day the scam is going to be revealed? I'll say no. What do you mean? It's already been revealed. Go and look at the US dollar maxis, the analysts, if you will. Go and look at how they speak about macro. They say that when the government prints money, it's not because of supply going up. They say it's because there's so much demand. I'm not joking. They literally say that. They say that's an excuse to say, no, they have to. They don't say it like that. I'm obviously dumbing them down, but they really do say, no, they have to print money because there's so much demand for it out there. And their system will, that's precisely the point. But the supply is going up. But they try to remove that word, the S word, supply. They try to remove it away because when something's supply goes up, its value goes down because it's not as scarce anymore. But they actually do these circular loops in their minds. And I'm like, wow, you've just literally fumbled your bag out of coming to the conclusion that you should be long on crypto. Just like this, just mental gymnastics. It really does happen. I've seen people have this conversation out there. I'm just sitting there as a bystander. I'm like, man, how do people look at the same information as me and you and they're not long? How? I want to see them. And then I actually watch this. I'm like, whoa, that's how they do it. They don't have peanut brains. Their brains are very medium-sized, cookie cutter and squishy. Our brains, it's a peanut rolling around. So it doesn't really matter how you spin it. Crypto is bullish from here. That's it. Their balance sheets are going to keep going up, the central banks. So you saw with the banking crisis, like there's a bank out there, okay, they're going to lose 50 billion. So the bank goes, no, you're not going to lose it. We'll buy the poo-poo you have now, and then you'll give us the 50 billion later because of your duration mismatch. And then they've added 50 billion onto their balance sheet. They literally went to their computer, opened up Microsoft Excel, and they just changed some digits. It's done. Problem solved. You get all the people to shut up. And you got to think, let's use some philosophy here. If you're a politician, if you are a central bankster, evil scum, puppeteer, control the world, we all know what it is. If you see like thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of people rioting, and you knew you could make all that go away by logging onto your computer, opening up a folder, go to your Excel sheet and just pressing some digits. If you knew that's all you had to do, of course you'd do it. Of course you would do it. Why wouldn't you do it? There's people rioting. There's going to be violence in the streets. The Ponzi system has to keep going. It really does. Now, I think one day they're going to really try to ban us, friends. I know people say, oh, but they can't ban us. Yeah, but they can try. Have you seen the weak hands out there in crypto? Have you seen how fragile people's hands are? People sell just because of a red candle. You don't even need the news to be true. You just need to form a red candle. So it's not wild to think one day Bitcoin goes so high in next crypto, top of the bull market, that the government starts going, all right, here we go. Let's go plan B. And their plan B is not our plan B, the Bitcoin maxi. It's going to be plan B as in plan destruction. Because we know the game. When too many people know the game doesn't work anymore. Good thing is, not everybody knows the game. So I even leave an ominous little tweet here. Bit of an Easter egg for you. I've mentioned, even if the stock market has to be paused later on due to exuberance. What I mean by this is, if the stock market gets too exuberant, if it keeps going up too much, they're going to do something. They're going to use terminology. The central banks be like, yeah, we can't stimulate as much. They know the words to say to get the market to go down. They know how to manipulate it. And when they do that, I think it's going to cap crypto in that way, because people are going to start to not believe in that money printing narrative, even though we all know it's a crock of poop. So this is why I firmly believe you got to think 3 steps ahead of the game. That's why you're listening to me. So after all of this macro update, you've seen, okay, what do we possibly gather from this? Well, one, you're already not long in crypto, so you're going to win no matter what. But now it's a question of how much do you win? Because in my eyes, I think it's really important to be in altcoins. And by altcoins, I mean everything non-Bitcoin. I think it's really important. In fact, yeah, I'm pushing Ethereum as well. You got to be outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You got to be in the home runners out there. You got to take a chance on that. That's what I firmly believe, because too many people believe in Bitcoin and Ethereum as a blue chip, and I do see it as a threat to them. When you start seeing more banks, more institutions, more people's savings rotating into Bitcoin and Ethereum, the new asset, and they don't control, I think it's going to be a warning sign for them. So it's easy for them to put a lid on Bitcoin and Ethereum. They can't initially put a lid on all our altcoins because they don't own them. For them to actually put a lid on them, they're going to have to really cap us somehow. So this is just your ominous warning to you. You already know what time it is. Like, we already know the numbers. Where's Bitcoin going to go from here? By the way, friends, I just want to let you know, okay, I see some influencers out there. They're talking the big game. Yeah, Bitcoin, 200, 300K. I will disrespectfully tell you right now, they're full of it. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to a single clickety, clackety, flipping your flapjack bone in their body, because don't believe they're garbage targets up here. Don't. I promise you, these people, if you can call them people, these people are going to be taking profits here. Okay? 70K to 90K. I promise you that. I promise you, with every single peanut in my skull, and there's only one, they're going to be taking profits at that rectangle. And you think, oh, that's only a few centimeters on the monitor. Nope. No, it's not. How about these few centimeters on your monitor? How about that? How about people who said they were going to exit at 100K, but they were exiting out here, and then now it's down to 20K. Instead of your portfolio doubling by 100%, now you've lost 90%. Do you like that deviation? So that's why I'm telling you, do not listen to these people talking about these big numbers. They're full of it. I'm telling you now, they're full of it. They will be taking profits here. They are shilling you leverage trading exchanges. They are shilling you undisclosed paid ICO pump and dumps. They get put on advisory boards and recommend stuff to you. They're all paid shills, all of them. And if they're not, who cares? The one person, throw them in with the lions anyway, because the other 99 are rotten. They will be way in profit before you. They will. So they can exit up here, and they will. And don't forget this. And how do I know this? I know this from the previous cycle. Many influencers talking a big game. They were exiting the fiat up here. Exiting the fiat. Talking about $500,000 Bitcoin. I know firsthand. I've seen wallets, man. I've seen wallets. They were literally taking profit at 20K to 22K. That's when they started. How about that? Isn't that funny? People talking about 200 to 300K Bitcoin, but they are exiting there. And I'm thinking, why? Why would you possibly do that? What's going through your mind? And then I realized, oh, okay. These people have an audience. Yes. But they are still in the mindset back here. They're still in the mindset, friends, from back here. They are still in the mindset when Bitcoin's liquidity was much smaller. When Bitcoin went up 20x from $1,000 to 20,000. Some of them are also OG enough that they heard about Bitcoin in the previous bears. So they still have this mindset that their audience packs a powerful punch because the liquidity is so thin. Now, me and you know that that's not true. I mean, Bitcoin's liquidity is so thick now. We can't possibly influence anything at all. But these people never got the idea. So what they were doing was, even though they're talking to their beloved audience, they're talking about. So this is the game, friends. This is what Wall Street. This is all these scum YouTube influencers and Twitter influencers do the same. It's called anchoring. You have to learn this. Anchoring. What they do is they plant a big number in your head so they can start immediately exiting. Because who's buying Bitcoin at 50K? The person who expects 500K. That's who's buying it. But who's selling it there? The person who got in earlier. But they know the game. They have to tell retailers there's another 3x to 5x in them. You know, you can go back to the stock market journals of the great investors who traded through the Great Depression and all about how they manipulate retail and how they grift everyone, all the insiders. And they always say, to get people to buy the top, basically, you got to convince them there's another 3x in it for them. They can triple their money. Minimum 2x, minimum a double. That's why they're thinking about that. That's how they get it there. So if you think people putting all their money in at Bitcoin 50K because they're so sure of 100K, but that's how they do it. That's how Wall Street do it. They plan. I hope this is making sense to you. I hope you're thinking back like, oh, now I hope you have this eureka moment in your mind. If you flash back your memories to 2021, now you are seeing why scum institutions, evil reptile scum like Citibank and all these others, they were releasing articles such and JP Morgan saying Bitcoin could be at $340,000 by the end of the year. Of course they're saying that because they know they're selling it to people at 50K on average. They're like, hey, you know, if you buy here, you still have another 7x left in it. Of course they were saying that, but they were exiting. Peter Thiel and all these other people all exiting. You can actually go back and see, oh wow, all these people were just grifters. All these institutions were grifters. You got to look after yourself. I've shown you the macro. The backdrop is still bullish. This is their key, man. They know they got to squash this. So we already know what time it is. The time is altcoins. We know this. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're starting to get sluggish. They're starting to slow down. They need a lot more time to rinse. Altcoins are like doves and they can fly very high. And you know what else can fly very high? Our friendship. Like it has already. Tell mum and tell dad that you love them and appreciate them.